Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Dungeon Boss Rune crafting series. Today we are going to be taking a look at a fairly rare rune type, one that I don't see crafted too often, which hopefully after today you might give it a little bit of second thought in terms of its long-term viability, and that is the Insight rune. So if you don't know what that is, I don't blame you because like I said, it is one of those ones that's not used very often. So when we craft runes, I'm going to focus on fire ones for now because I don't have a ton of really good fire runes. Um, a lot of people, what they're looking for when they do these really amazing runes is that fourth stat. And so when we're on the vampiric, for example, and vampiric was one of the most common ones that people went for early on because the legendary has lifesteal on it. So basically, what it says there is heroic and legendary have a chance for lifesteal. They're talking about the fourth stat on there, but pretty much any rune can have a fourth stat on it. So when people see things like this insight rune, it tends to fall by the wayside because the legendary has a chance to gain hero XP in PvE. And most people see that and say, well, one, I don't want more experience in PvE because then I'm just going to level too fast. There's that whole notion of slow leveling, and this completely counteracts that. So then the purpose of this is, what is the point of even creating one of these runes if the fourth stat is going to be this stupid experience thing? Let me first point out that very few runes in general have a fourth stat. So almost all of the runes that you craft are going to be just regular old runes and they're not going to have a fourth stat. If we look at any of the runes that I have on any of my heroes so far, do they have fourth stats on those legendaries? Probably, but I spent a lot of time finding these runes here and creating them. This one here was a Soul Stealer, which was a legendary, which we definitely saw. But Precision, this was actually a reward. This was not one that I actually crafted. This one here was actually a reward that I got somewhere too. I didn't craft that one. So in terms of legendary runes that I've crafted, I'm probably disproving my point right from the start. No fourth skill, no fourth skill, no fourth skill. Those are three legendaries that don't have a fourth. So by that standard, no fourth skill on the heroic, no fourth skill on the heroic. So if we're expecting a fourth skill on every one of these runes here, we're obviously got some false expectations. So where does that leave us then? This one was a tactics, I was going to have it. No fourth skill. This one that was a reward for champion for PvP. So why would we want to craft this rune then? That is the major question here. Why would I want to craft a rune that has the potential to give basically a junk fourth stat? And the reason that I want you to consider crafting this is because if you look at what is actually on there. So I'm gonna create a grader here in a second. I just got to get one of these etch bars. The stats, there's not a ton of stats that you're going to be able to get on this rune. Much like why people create destruction runes and why they create vampiric, they're extremely predictable in terms of the stats that are going to be on there. So when we have critical and health, there's also a non-disclosed one on here, but it also has attack. So attack, critical, and health is pretty much the core well-rounded rune. It's about the best well-rounded rune you can get because it doesn't have any of the garbage on it. So if you want a nice offensive base team, critical, attack, and health can be a good way to get you there. So compared to the battle rune, attack, critical, skill, health, and then a bunch of resist types. Awfully risky to craft battle runes. So most people have stopped crafting those because of all the resist out there. And then the power rune, attack, critical, skill, damage, but it also has dodge on there. And some people don't like having that plus damage either. Power runes could be a little bit tricky to do. Skill runes are mostly for critical, but skill, critical, dodge, you don't get a ton of extra attack on there. So this insight rune is actually starting to look pretty good. Now the only requirement for doing an insight rune is you have to get these guild rings. Now I don't ever suggest that you go out and actively try to spend any of your in-game event rewards on guild rings. Just get these as normal rewards for completing guild things and just hang on to them. Don't ever try to actually purchase them unless you're really, really gung-ho about getting these insight runes here. I should also point out that the insight runes are only for the fire, nature, and dark runes, much like there's no power rune. There's no insight rune for the water or for the light. It is a different version, and it's a defensive one instead. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and spend some of our gems here. I do have to get one of these, make sure it's, I think it's fire etched bar. Yep. Alright, so a little bit of lag here. Fire etched bar. Gosh, out of materials again. Alright, so I need some silver. I'm just going to farm a couple of these here. Sorry for making you wait. The mats never seem to be here when you need them the most. Watch me burn through all of my stamina just trying to get 2 silvers. Wouldn't that be hilarious? There's none on that one. You could probably fast forward this part of the video if you want, because I don't want to make you sit and watch this stupid mat farming. We got 1 silver. The reason I'm going through and doing each of these is just so that whenever I do mad farming, I always just go through one by one and do the tokens, just to start building some Aether. It's always nice to have that on there. If you just farm the same level over and over, you're kind of just wasting potential. In this case here, I'm getting tons of rune chests, which is absurd. But it's a good mechanic to go through. There's the rest of my silver. Alright, so we lost a little bit of time there. Let's craft 2 of these. And now let's actually craft one of these insight runes here. Alright, so we got 9,000 gems to spend. We're not going to run out of gems, but hopefully it's a decent one to start with. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up. It is pretty weak to start with, but we have attack and crit, which is a good base for really any rune. So any basically offensive based team is going to benefit from attack plus crit. So this is really helpful for ruining up goblin teams. I know I just had some controversy on my goblin video that came out, but if you have runes that are both attack and crit, I think they're going to be a nice little combination of the two. So we are going to do some tuning here, hopefully get it up to a better rarity. So attack, crit, health, there's the 3 stats that I was talking about. And so now I don't expect to get that 4th stat, but even if I do, I mean, I'm already at max level, so really I'm just tuning to get the extra stats on it at this point, which there's nothing wrong with trying to take it to the limit to get better stats. I mean, that's how you get good runes, is you pretty much have to tune them. And this one here's, it's definitely not cooperating, but we got it to heroic. So there's my 8% XP in PvE, which at this point here, the only benefit is bumping it up to legendary. I'm going to suggest, in my case here, I'm not going to do it. So I will leave it at this and accept it. And then just to show you what this amounts to then, let's go ahead and find it. There's my greater insight. Let's upgrade it. Watch me run out of mats here as well. One more. And of course we are out of Evo essences. Well, if anything's going to make a video go long, it's constant mat farming. Alright, 5 of them should be enough for now. Greater insight, upgrade. Alright, so let's just look at this rune here. This is a greater, and take a look at the numbers on here. Plus 394 attack, that is actually not bad for any type of a attack rune. And plus almost 4% crit. You throw this on someone like Who's a good example? Maybe someone like Squinch, for example. Squinch starts out with fairly low critical to start with. So adding attack and crit instead of just crit runes, you can kind of build up both of these. So let's just take a quick peek at my Squinch. So right now he doesn't have much on him. I do have him at 50%, courtesy of the Goblin Rune video. I have updated all of them to get to 50%. But his red runes, plus 297, plus 129. It's only an improved, and then I have some actual crit chance on there. Attack 370, attack 190, and crit chance 398. So this is a battle rune, but remember, some of those battle runes are a little bit risky, and it can be a little bit easier, I think, to create some of these insight runes. So overall, it doesn't add up to more attack or more crit for it. Battle rune is always going to outpace it. But as far as a well-rounded rune, like I said, you create enough of these and they might be a good foundation for some of your mid-tier heroes. So, and it'll give you an excuse to use some of those guild rings that you've been accumulating. So with that said, if you have any questions about this rune type, feel free to let me know. I will always field questions and get back to you whenever I can. So until next time, thanks for listening, and stop by again. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.